Okay, should we start, Georgie?
Yes, hello everyone. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you. My name is Chorsi. I am part of Accenture, and we are very well. At least I want to speak for myself. I'm really happy to be here. It's my first time, so thank you for the possibility. Can you go to the next slide so we can? Thank you. That's me. I am working for Accenture for more than 15 years, always in HR in different teams. And I am leading the inclusion and diversity team for LATAM for more than 3 or 4 years. And it's a pleasure to be here with Manu.
Hi, everyone. Very glad to be here. I've been working with Accenture for about 10 years, but only, I would say, recently I got more and more engaged with the Pride and LGBTQ plus related initiatives. And no, it's very nice and exciting to be joining Out and Equal for the first time. I would say that, my personal motivation, if you want to get to know a little bit more about me, to get more involved in this and try to, push and be actively engaged and fostering inclusion and acceptance and equality in the workplace is well, in my case, my own experience. As a gay man, I remember when I joined the workforce, and times have changed a lot since then, and I know what it's like not to be comfortable, sharing who you are, and just fearing that it might hinder your career, or essentially what people sees in you, whether instead of looking at what you can achieve and what you can do, instead focusing on you know who you are attracted to or who you choose, as a partner. um, so again, very excited to be here, and I guess just to set expectations, we're still learning. We're far from being, global experts on this, but this is something cool that we implemented and that we thought we wanted to share with the rest of you, in case that you thought it was cool as well.
Yes, thank you, Manu. Um, the first things that we want to share with you, it's as Manu said, it's our experience. In that experience, we made mistakes, we try to do it again, but always like moving forwards. We think that always we have learn and have spaces to learn, and that's our also our objective. So we really think this topic, reverse mentoring, in fact, is something that is very curious regarding that you can learn from anyone, from your kids, from any partner. And this is something to do regarding reverse mentoring that we want to share with you. What we're going to share in the next slide, I don't can see the agenda. Is a little bit more about Accenture, just to share with you what things we are working on. The reverse mentoring, that is the action and experience that in fact we launched it like not so much ago, some time much ago. So I think that as I say, something we start with a pilot, and then we want to continue. And in Accenture, we have a phrase that we say that perfect is too late. And what we mean that, again, that we try to do things and to be agile and to be innovate. We can do it also in the way we do it in the meanwhile, and we can do the adjustments that we need to do it. We're going to share the benefits that we think that we define or we find in this reverse mentoring. How does it work? How to get started, and our journey. And of course, questions if you have anyone, and if we can answer them. Okay, well, about Accenture, Accenture is it's a global company. We have like a lot of people everywhere, and I think that what I am really very proud about Accenture is that the focus is the talent of the people, of the person who are part of Accenture. Real Accenture, we really the focus is the talent, and we don't and we want that everyone can feel they can be at their best and being themselves, so that it's very it's like the key point of Accenture regarding the talent of our people. Regarding reverse mentoring, now that we're going to present with you, maybe the next slide, is like we start with a first pilot, and what we tried to do, what means reverse mentoring. And as I mentioned with you, that I really think that you can learn from everyone. And the idea of reverse mentoring is the concept of a person who is who is not the senior, let's say the senior one as the professional, but it can be the mentee, and the mentor is the person who know more about the topic. We have some pilots with other topics, for example, media exchange, and with the new generations that maybe know more about that topic, and the mentees were senior people. And regarding reverse mentoring, we in Pride, we think that it was a great opportunity to put it in place for many reasons, but the first one was that there is no career level. The idea is to of course to exchange skill, knowledge, and of course understanding. Regarding the benefits, I will start, and then Manu can share by himself the one that he experienced. We really think that this is a safe place where we put together the mentee and the mentor to talk openly and very transparent in the way that we really have a true conversation regarding anything that maybe a senior leader don't know, since the maybe the LGBT, I don't know what it means each letter, and really to have that conversation, to can ask any question. And also we think that it's very benefit that the leaders will then share with the rest of the teams, will know how to share also the knowledge to the team, and also to use them in the good sense as sponsors to regarding any topic about inclusion and diversity, and regards LGBT, and regards Pride, as we call it at Accenture, to talk about this topic.
And I would say that the beauty of it is that it's mutually beneficial, because for once, the mentee gets to really understand how the LGBTQI plus community is doing at work, what challenges they're facing, and is able to leverage and use that information to really tailor actions, as opposed to just assume what would be a good action to implement. And on the other hand, the mentor also has the ability to directly influence leadership, and by providing insight and awareness, it's they have the ability to directly help build and drive actions to improve how the community feels at work. So let's now talk a little bit about how it works. Um, essentially, we pair leaders, senior leaders, with more junior roles, and the underlying way in which this works is that by having this very open and honest conversation, we can drive empathy, um, so that people really understand, again, what some of the challenges could be, that the LGBTQI plus um, people in the company might be facing, and what better way to find out that hearing directly from someone um, in the community. And it helps us reduce bias. And as you probably all know, you know, it's not necessarily a conscious effort that someone does, not to understand, another person's background or where they come from. Sometimes, unfortunately, we have deeply ingrained beliefs that prevents us from understanding, how someone else might feel, or what can be some of the challenges that they might be facing. By having this informal conversations, we can also empower learning, because by having this very open, environment, and respectful environment, people is free to really share what they think, and it generates the humility and the honesty necessary to really dive deep into, I would say, the different aspects that someone might not necessarily feel comfortable asking without, that kind of safe environment. And even though here it says the mentor helps the mentee, I would say they both help each other, really. And not just in the manners that I described before, but also because this link, this connection that is generated by this experience typically survives the mentoring sessions, and also, um, I would say, nurtures both um, the mentor and mentees networks and relationships. Did we get any questions so far? Just
Yes, we
out of
have,
curiosity.
I think that we are going to answer them in the next slide. And if not, I can let you know and we answer together.
All right, sounds good. So let's now see how to get started. So what we recommend here is, if you wanted, you could implement, a program widely in your company. But what we believe is a really good idea is to start a smaller pilot, learn from those experiences, and then expand accordingly. So the first step would be to select who would be the participants. In terms of mentors, I would, uh, I guess we would encourage you to, if you have ERGs, BRGs, Bergs, I believe it's another way to call them, for Pride or LGBT IQ plus people in your company, I would say those should be your first point of contact. Try to connect with them and see if any one of them is interested in participating. And in terms of the mentees, we believe that this is most impactful when reaching out to senior leadership that might be interested in participating, and why not fostering this kind of initiatives. You can later, as we said, expand it and include, all leaders if you wanted. But for the beginning, we think that a more controllable approach is probably recommended. Once you do, Um, you should definitely define mentoring guidelines. These are not very different from those of a traditional mentoring relationship, and the guidelines are there for a reason. They preserve the relationship. They make it clear and set expectations so as to what are the different roles and how the relationship is supposed to work and evolve. And some of these guidelines could be from very basic things, um, um, like how often do we meet, for how long, to more complex situations like what are you comfortable discussing initially or not. um, Once you have those guidelines, and of course, for the people designing the program, you won't provide the answers to these questions. You will just provide the questions, and you will leave the mentors and mentees to define what the relationship should look like um, themselves. Once you have those first step ready, then you can kick off the program. And we recommend, again, to make sure that there's a cadence that mentors and mentees can follow. We know that we're all very busy, and sometimes it's difficult to find time for plus one activities, but it's important that there's frequent contact, and that the communications aren't suddenly stopped and then resumed months afterwards. um, and We would also recommend for the different mentees and mentors um, to talk with one another. Like you could have a group of the different mentors to discuss the different experiences that they've experienced with their mentees. And we believe it's a great idea for um, sharing ideas and experiences. And sometimes you can apply something that another mentee brought up, or that was brought up in another conversation, to your own mentoring relationship. um, and this is really what we mean when we say catch up periodically. And of course, after you've completed the program, it's very important to get feedback and to conduct a retrospective to understand, what we did good, what could be improved, what we need to do more of, um, and apply all those learnings for the next wave of mentoring, and in which you hopefully will invite, an ever increasingly number of people to participate in this kind of initiatives. Um, for the question, how many pairs were
Yes.
initially in your pilot? I believe there were 5 pairs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and also there is a question regarding how was the match done. And the truth is that what we first think was, okay, we have in Accenture like the Pride Council, that it's a group of employees like Manu that on top of their job, they voluntarily are very engaged with these initiatives. So we asked them who would like to participate, and then the hands were raised. So the ones who want to start with this pilot, first we have like the mentors from the Pride Council, and then we also have to mention that we ask our sponsor, because we do have a sponsor, a leader sponsor from each of our actions regarding inclusion and diversity. And we have a sponsor that is a senior level, who invite other senior levels to be part of this pilot. So the ones who was, we didn't open to all of them, just a few of them to start with this pilot, but the invitation was from this senior level also. And then we really do the match, asking with the persons from the Pride Council if they know one, or again, maybe if they didn't know them better, or just to do the match. But we didn't spend like so much time doing the match. We was more natural. But yes, we want to cover all the I don't want to talk Accenture, Accenture language, but we want to cover all the business areas. So we have at least one leader with a mentor from each business area. That I think that was one of the questions also.
Yeah, I would say do not overthink it. It's in our experience, the matching is not as crucial as you might think in terms of trying to come up with a scientific method of doing that. Um, it because it really that's what we're trying to avoid. We don't want to pair people that work in the same area or that have specific career level or anything like that. So um, I would say just make sure that they're diverse, because as you probably know, with diversity comes a lot of many great things. And so as to the question of whether this is formal, it is formal up to the point that we developed a structure for it, like the mentoring guidelines, and that we reach out to the different mentors and mentees to get them to participate, and we have this catch-ups and retrospectives. But we believe that this can be a very nurturing relationship, and if it generates naturally in the workplace, that's fine as well. Okay, and what information do you collect? Is there a mentorship program manager? So could you elaborate so as to what you mean by program manager? Um, okay, but here we have some of the guidelines that we were talking about. So this again is to help um, people set expectations and protect the relationship, and help them evolve their mentoring relationship. So we recommend that mentoring roles be defined, that the roles, rules, and expectations are clear, and there's a method to resolve conflicts or concerns, and that recurrence and duration again be defined, and how exactly the relationship is going to end, whether there's going to be a time frame for the relationship or some other way to define it. And for the people who is implementing the program, we do encourage you to make it a point to emphasize the importance of trust and transparency, because without transparency, um, you won't get much of this. People will not really feel in a safe environment so as to really share what they think, and be really open to ask questions and learn from them. So I believe in the next slide, we have some of the typical or some conversation examples of things that could be discussed in this mentoring meetings. Um, so we, uh, the conversations could be about the different barriers or challenges faced by the community. It could be about the bias surrounding the community, conversations about sexuality, gender identity. You know, I believe that most of the people who are attending this have a very clear idea of, you know, how gender is different from sexual orientation, gender expression, you know, all those things. But we need to make sure that we don't assume that everybody is as familiar with those differences and
Mhm.
concepts as we are, and you know, definitely not ostracize anyone because they don't know about these things. You know, the purpose of this is to help, to learn, and why not to gain more allies and you know, have more people to help us you know, push and advance you know, LGBT the LGBTQI plus community as a whole. Um, so I think if there's no more questions, let's see if there's any other questions. Oh,
Yes, and
there's.
also we can share like that each relationship between mentor and mentee is unique. We have one not very good experience that the mentee cannot participate, or and that was also okay. But there we find another one, another mentee. Uh, and the change was awesome. So I think what I want to share that as any mentor program, each relationship is unique. I mean, the general feedback is great regarding reverse mentoring, but we can have maybe successful relationship and other ones not that much. But we really think, or at least the feedback we have is that they, as Manu mentioned, there is like mutual, both got benefits and was like a great experience, because it's not very common, this reverse mentoring. So just to put this on the agenda is something that is curious and is something new. And at Accenture, we always have new things to learn. So and I think that that was the way also that the how we put it on the table, because also reverse mentoring is part of our for methodology, that kind, and also agile, or there are like a lot of different ways to learn, and reverse mentoring is one. And it's also something that we want to share also with our clients. So reverse mentor per se is something that is new, it's different, and it's another way also to learn, and also to have relationships.
Yeah, and some other great questions from the chat. So in terms of revitalizing, if you already had an initiative like this, one of the things that I would do would be to try to understand why it didn't catch on, to understand, you know, uh, what didn't work quite as intended, so that you can perhaps, you know, relaunch it, taking those things into consideration to make it more effective. But one thing that we believe is, you know, usually a very good idea is to share experiences, much like we're gonna do now, in which you can, you know, showcase a mentor and a mentee talking about their experiences and the benefits, and that's often a lot more convincing than just you know, a formal communication with the program guidelines or things like that. Um, Another question about the mentoring versus reverse mentoring program. So I would say most of the rules are the same. It's still a mentoring relationship. What is different about it is the underlying assumption that the one playing the role of the mentor is the most senior person in the company. So if you can clarify that you know, career level in a company um, does not necessarily come with in-depth understanding of the LGBTQ plus community and the challenges that they face, it's easy to understand that it's pretty much a mentoring relationship like any other. And as we mentioned at the beginning, or I believe we did, it didn't even start with Pride. We believe it's an amazingly effective tool, but it was initially um, created to talk about technology because of the assumption that more senior people would struggle with technology a little bit more, and that more
Social
junior
media
roles could,
also, exactly.
yeah, could help them. And another great question um, is about the exploitation of emotional labor for example, trans people. So the one thing that we would like to highlight is that this is a completely voluntary initiative. So we would never reach out to someone demanding for them to, teach others. It has to be something that the person wants to do, understanding that it would be a plus one activity, and that there has to be actual commitment and interest for the person to share this very very personal experiences, and we would very much recommend against forcing anyone to participate in this kind of program. Hope that answers the question. If it's general awareness that you're trying to improve, we would recommend to take another approach and perhaps have a training session with maybe even external professionals to um, teach about these things. But again, we wouldn't recommend to um, force anyone into something like this. Okay, so I think we are ready for to talk a little bit about our journey, and we now have Vero with us, and you know, Vero and I are in a mentoring relationship, so that's probably um, a very good idea because we can have all sides of the conversation covered, and we really wanted to invite her because she is a very senior leader in Accenture Argentina, and we wanted for her to be able to share her experiences, and so that you don't hear it from Georgie and I only, and you can have
Hear the truth.
yeah, directly from one of the people engaged in the program.
The customer experience.
Exactly. So thank you so much for joining, Vera.
No, thank you very, very much for the invitation. I am very happy to be here with all of you today, and I have this great opportunity to share this personal experience. So let me start with a super quick introduction about myself so that you can better understand the impact that this program had in my role and my teams. I've been in Accenture now for more than 20 years and had held many different roles, always within the finance organization. I am currently the finance director for our corporate functions. I don't want to bore you, but basically this means that I am responsible for a multi-billion budget that covers human resources, marketing, legal, real estate, and many others. I work with a global team located in 15 different countries. And before this role, I was responsible for a team of 2,500 professionals supporting financial management activities across 5 delivery center locations, including India, China, Philippines, and Argentina. I have to say, inclusion and diversity are a fundamental part of our culture in Accenture and also of our core values, as you have heard from Georgie and from Manu. And I am passionate about inclusion and diversity because I truly, truly believe that our diversity makes us stronger, more innovative, and even creates competitive advantages. In consequence, I have to say I'm a very active leader, very active sponsor, ambassador of multiple diversity initiatives, such as Women in Finance, or also some employability programs that we did for people over 40 years. And as you can imagine, by leading global teams, I have had the opportunity to visit multiple countries and learn about different cultures, even different ways of working. And probably more important, I've always tried to understand the stories behind the names, really to talk to the people, to understand their realities, and to develop close relationships to different individuals across the world. Again, trying to understand diversity from different dimensions. I have also been, and actually still are, the mentor for many women that reach out to me to discuss different situations that they face throughout their careers. And I have always tried to support them when dealing with critical decisions such as career path, specific situations, right? So I typically listen to them, share my knowledge, and a lot of career experiences. So after hearing a bit about myself, you might be wondering, is she a mentor or a mentee in the reverse mentoring program? So I want to clarify, as Manu already anticipated, that I am a happy and proud mentee in this program. And I will try to quickly give my 3 reasons why I am so happy about the program. First one, I need to start saying I am a learner by nature. So people often think that the longer you work for an organization, the more you know and the less you need to learn. This is absolutely wrong, especially under these times of exponential change. We really can't stop learning. I learn every day from my team, my stakeholders, my bosses, my kids. So when Human Resources brought this new reverse mentoring program, again, as you have heard, optional, I honestly didn't doubt it and said, I'm in. I knew I needed to learn more about our LGBT plus community, and I really thought it was a great opportunity to do it. So to summarize, reason number 1, I've learned a lot through the program. Then my second reason, as I mentioned before, I am a tireless advocate of gender equality, and I typically lead a large number of women-related initiatives inside and even outside of Accenture. I feel a strong empathy with professional women because honestly, most of the situations I've already been there, right? When we talk about work-life balance, when we talk about return to the office after maternity, or how to build your personal branding, or how to find more opportunities to promote. All these situations as a working mom professional are super familiar to me. So those conversations are really very, very, very natural. But when it comes to LGBT community, I've never been in those shoes, right? So I'm humble enough as to recognize that I've never experienced what it feels like to not be able to talk about my gender identity at work, or how outside experiences of discrimination may impact in my deliverables, right? So my second reason is really that I found an open and very honest way to talk directly with a member of the community about all these and many other situations and topics will really help me to better understand the experiences and challenges that the community has in the organizations. And the third reason is that once I learned and once I understood better, I started thinking, what else can I do as a leader to foster a great work environment for the community members? And Manu and I talk a lot about this, right? Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything else I should be doing? Sometimes we are not so self-aware of how little actions may impact on others. So as a very simple example, right? Just sometimes by fostering my team to participate in a LGBT plus activity, or even explaining to them how important it is to be an ally, all that really shows that I care, and I expect all of them to embrace inclusiveness. So we talk a lot about how to contribute more to set the LGBT community members up for success. And I found those conversations extremely rich. And honestly, also, by taking the time to reflect and share stories of both challenges and successes, in and outside of work, leaders can inspire others in a more impactful way. So I really feel that is already happening. Because as a leader, I truly believe I have a fundamental role when it comes to fostering an environment that helps other team members to be their whole self, so that they can be their best self, professionally and personally. And by being mindful of our team's needs, we can really lead more passionate, more productive, satisfied teams. And we can also establish a more transparent and supportive culture with a strong sense of belonging. So reason number 3, just to summarize, this program helped me as a leader to be a better ambassador of our LGBT plus community and take concrete actions to continue strengthening the sense of belonging and inclusiveness. I don't want to bore you anymore. Just to wrap up, let me just add that the leadership commitment and our actions as leaders are key to create an inclusive and diverse culture. And diverse and inclusive workforce are also crucial to innovation, which also has a direct impact on our business as well. So building a culture of equality means taking tangible actions and setting bold goals to accelerate change. My honest feedback here is that this program is just one perfect example of a tangible action that any leader can take. Thank you very much, Manu and Georgie, for giving me this opportunity to present to the group today.
Well, thank you, Vero. And
Thank you.
I would say my experience as as Vero's mentors has been extremely good. I would say that it's extremely satisfying, and uh, I don't know. It's just feeling that the person that you're talking to cares and is eager to learn and wants to understand is very rewarding, and seeing how that has an impact. Um, when we're talking about senior leadership on potentially you know, hundreds of people, um, is again very rewarding. It makes you feel like you are doing something, you're achieving something, but not only from that perspective of being able to have that kind of connection with someone who has a strong presence and a strong influence in the organization. Also, uh, because it makes you question some things and learn new things yourself as well. Even if you're the mentor, um, the questions you ask, the conversations you participate in, the answers you receive sometimes make you see things from a different perspective. Understand things in a way that you hadn't before. And this is the beauty of diversity, being able to see things from a different perspective than what you're typically used to, and how to implement that. And I noticed that in many different ways when talking to Vero. Like, for example, I would say that many of us have like this I don't know, maybe it's just me, pre-recorded conversation of the basic things that someone has to teach about inclusion and diversity for LGBTQI plus people. But when you're talking with someone who is already actively engaged in inclusion, even if it's not just for the same group, even if it's for a different group, there's some things that they already know, that um, they've already been through. So finding this points of connection and finding where things intersect, again, make things very, very um, I don't know, I want to say productive, but it's more than that. Um, and it's also having the experience to have this kind of relationship and develop, expand your network with people that even in this specific setting um, are your mentees, can really become someone to look up to and a role model to aspire. Um, so again, I would very much recommend this as a mentor. And it's funny how at some point uh, you know you don't just talk about pride related stuff. It becomes more than that, and you can really find yourself in an open environment and secure environment in which you can have conversations about pretty much anything, and really rewarding and fruitful conversations. Okay, so I'm not sure if we have any other questions. Thanks for your comment, Rafa.
What about questions for the mentee? You have the mentee here,
Yes.
so feel free to ask.
We can also share that at the beginning also mentors, I remember Manu, I know if you remember the first meeting, like have question regarding how to approach to the mentee. And it was very positive, the surprise, because of the respect of the distance of the level. And when they had their first meeting, it was like Vero just shared, it was, they were so proud and happy to have that conversation and how the conversation goes. I mean, like, leaders are also humans, and they have and they can have a very nice and truly conversation, and they really share this experience in our catch up, as Manu mentioned. But it was also like the first fear, or how I'm going to have this first conversation. Should I pin him? Should I send a calendar? How to approach? And when we shared experience in the catch up, was like more, oof, okay, like the first conversation was great, and that was very nice to happen. There are no questions for Vero. You were so here. Here's a question.
Some of the straight senior leaders I work with might be hesitant to be so vulnerable to a junior employee. That is a great question. I don't think that there's a one size fit all answer. Um, I would say definitely, if you have an inclusion and diversity department, or leader like we have Georgie here, it's definitely to have them engage or even run the program, um, to try to reassure them and help them understand that this is a safe space for them to be willing to be vulnerable, and also trying to explain that there's little that can be achieved, little that can be learned without getting to that point, without uh, becoming vulnerable and sharing this kind of personal things. So if you really want it to work, if you really want it to make it a success, this is something that you have to be open to. Georgie, not sure if you wanted to answer the questions about how to invite top managers to be mentees.
Yes, I think that what works for us, first, as Vero mentioned, inclusion and diversity is part of our culture, is part of our core values. So it's like a must. Of course, that it must have to be voluntary, but it's something. It's part of our DNA. It's part. It's something that it is on the agenda. So it's difficult not to be aware, at least, that we have inclusion and diversity targets, for example. So it's something that is on the agenda. But what is also something that is also very I think that work for us is to have sponsors. So that's what I was trying to share, that as a senior leader like Vero is sponsored, for example, as Vero is for Women in Finance, and there is Lore. Lore is sponsor for Pride. So she sent the invitations to other leaders to be mentee. And I think that works. Of course, first we have this conversation with Lore, Manu have it as part of the Pride Council, of course, to engage her, and of course she really wants to be part of, and anything that we need, we go to her, and she facilitate like this conversation with their peers. So then like we can go and they have already that conversation.
Dominic, also to your question about making a strong case for executives, you know, this is an interesting conversation that we also had with Vero, and you know, she already talked about you know, how important is diversity and how impactful it is in terms of, you know, motivation, innovation, productivity, a lot of things. And you know, we don't want to be utilitarian. We believe this is the right thing to do, but even you know, regardless of anyone's ethical standpoint, if you look at this from a merely utilitarian perspective, being inclusive is a smart business. It's just unconscionable to deny that, and the price or the cost of not inclusiveness is very steep. So if it's even just to reap the benefits of you know, having a more inclusive environment, that is a very strong case, just from facts and solid data, so as to why they should care to participate in programs like this.
If I can add something, because I've seen a lot of questions about feeling vulnerable or how to approach leads. I have to say, this is my personal situation. Nobody should feel vulnerable for not knowing something, right? I mean, there's no way we can know everything. And actually, as leaders, we need to show the humility to really say, hey, I don't know. And it's not my job to know everything. My job is more to connect the dots between teams, network, to build successful teams, to, of course, get to a concrete objective. So in the same way that we receive almost every day offers to learn about cloud, security, I think we should really embrace this as an opportunity to get to know more and learn about something that probably we don't have such a deep knowledge, but with a clear commitment that I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this for my team, I'm doing this because I know it's the right thing to do, right? So from that perspective, hopefully you will break some barriers. At the same time, the other thing that I would say is don't presume that they will say no, right? Is challenge yourself to start the conversations. There may be different styles and personalities, so you need to choose where to start, right? More open type of people, social type of individuals, but start small, baby steps. Try to select one or two that you think they will be on board very soon and start building the program. So don't target everybody from day zero, but I think also do not start thinking I will receive a no as an answer, right? Try to foster those conversations, explain why it's good for us as leaders, what is the objective that you're trying to achieve, and hopefully you will find some leaders that eventually will become ambassadors of the program. So you will have leaders convincing leaders why this is good also for them. So it will not just be a job of the mentees or the junior participants of the program. It's also something that you're going to start developing at the leadership nodes of the organization.
That is a great point. Did we have any mentor-mentee relationships that didn't work? We did, but only because of availability. I believe it was just one case in which one of our senior leaders initially had the time to participate, but then became very, very busy and engaged. And what we did then was to reassign the mentee with a different, sorry, the mentor with a different mentee. But fortunately, we haven't found, any other issues or deep problems in a mentoring relationship so far. So not sure if there's any other questions. Otherwise, from a personal standpoint, I want to encourage you to step up and to be mentors and role models in your organizations. Doesn't matter if it's regular mentoring, reverse mentoring, coaching, whatever works for you is fine. But it does make a difference. Do not just sit and wait for someone else to do it. Get engaged, and that you'll see changes. You'll see things improving. You'll see progress. There's another question for you, Vero, actually. Have you shared your
Yes,
experience with?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I did with some leaders in my organization. As Georgie said at the very beginning, I think they try to identify like one leader by organization. I shared my great experience about the program and also shared that this was a pilot. So really hoping that we in Accenture could expand soon and that others could experience the program as I did. So yes, I definitely did. Again, trying to become an ambassador of the program with other leaders. Thanks for the question.
Okay. I think we have one more minute to answer any other questions. All right. Well, if you do have any other questions, you can always reach out to us. You have our LinkedIn links, or you can look us up, and we'll be glad to help you. And thank you so much for joining and participating. Georgie, not sure, or Vero, if you want to say anything else.
Just also a big thank you to you both, because you are really, I know that you're passionate about this, and not only passion, that your every step you both do, it's something amazing. So thank you.
No,
Thanks.
from my part, thank you very much again for the invitation. It's been really a pleasure to be with all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Vero. Okay. Bye, everyone.